Welcome to Living by the Word Ministries. My name is Emmanuel Oluoch. So, really quick, let's jump into it. Last time we learned from Adventist Review, March 5th, 1981, when Neal Wilson said there is another universal and truly Catholic organization. So, who was this Neal Wilson? We'll see that just right now. On YouTube, you can find a video titled Bill Hughes. I've already watched it, and I'll just give you the part to see. Ted Wilson, Saint or Snake, that's the title of the video by Bill Hughes himself, who himself was removed from the General Conference work because he refused to stop preaching the three angels' messages in public. That reminds me on what Jesus said, that you will be even cast out of synagogues. So these people, these men, are casting people who are proclaiming and preaching the third angel's messages in public. Three conferencemen gave him the ultimatum with his wife present, but Bill refused to follow the worldly orders. Fast forward to 1 hour and 8 minutes into the video, and you'll hear from Meline, who said that she and her husband were cast out of the Seventh-day Adventist Church 19.5 years ago for passing out the Great Controversy. What is that? Let's continue on. Meline stated, I will say this whether I'm in camera or not. There was a home school group that was funded by the government. I worked for them when I was 18 for half a year packing books. They were started and funded by the government because in the 70s a lot of people said that the school system is bad and they started homeschooling. Then the government said, we're losing track of these children. We have to keep a lid on these children. We have to train the next generation. So they paid this man who was on the board of education for the US. His name was Dr. Raymond Moore. The gasps. My worked for him for years. I went to work for him when I was 18. On that board was Ted Wilson's father, Neal C. Wilson. He spent a lot of time with my aunt and told her, remember her aunt, the aunt to Meline. Ted Wilson's father told her, I am a 33rd degree Freemason. I know you won't believe me, but let's go on. She swore me to secrecy some 10 to 12 years ago about this, but God's people have to know the truth, and I am not afraid to die for telling you the truth, because people, we need to wake up and realize that we have been a lot of foxes in the hen house for a long time, but God says the light will shine. I remember the verse, to the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. I know that even Neal, in his reign is when we had the change of the Adventist logo. That is not according to the law and to the testimony, so meaning that there is no light in him. You won't believe me, but let's go on. At first hearing this, you will not believe me. You, Seventh-day Adventist. At first hearing this, most Seventh-day Adventists will say this is impossible. So we searched the internet for a type of confirmation that Neal was in fact a Mason. Were others talking about, is there a photo, etc.? Well, we found it in a book, Codex Magica by Texen Mars. Here's that book. And there it says, and hidden codes of the Illuminati. So how can a person who is said by many people to be a good person to be found in a book that has hidden codes of Illuminati? Let's go on. Well, we found it in a book called Codex Magica by Texen Mars, page 174. It was a photo of Neal. The caption reads, Neal Wilson, President of the General Conference of the Seventh Adventist, in the left, exchange and indisputable, in my opinion, even in my opinion, it's an indisputable Masonic handshake with Konstantin Kharkiv, the Soviet Union's chairman and the Ministry of Religious Affairs. The occasion was a socialist-sponsored environmental conclave called the International Forum for non-nuclear world and survival of humanity, February 13th to 15th, 1987. How many other GC presidents are pictured in the book featuring a Masonic handshake? Well, there is none, and that's it. You can see the Freemasonic handshake, Neal C. Wilson, and that, the man. So that means there are a lot of Ted.
Am I on camera?
Yeah. Look it up on the internet and see what you find out.
You know what? I will say this, whether I'm on camera or not. There was a homeschool group that was funded by the government. I worked for them when I was 18 for a year, not a year, half a year, I believe, packing books. They were started and funded by the government because in the 70s, a lot of people said the school system is bad, and they started homeschooling, and the government said, we're losing track of all these children. We've got to keep a lid on these children. We've got to train the next generation. So they paid this man who was on the Board of Education for the United States of America. His name was Dr. Raymond Moore. My aunt worked for him for years. I went to work for him when I was 18. On that board was Ted Wilson's father. He spent a lot of time with my aunt and told her, I'm a third degree Mason. She swore me to secrecy some 10, 12 years ago about this, but God's people have to know, and I am not afraid to die for telling you, because people, we need to wake up and realize there have been a lot of foxes in the hen house for a long time, but God says the light will shine, and we need to wake up and say, you know, the text that comes clear to my mind over and over as I think about all of these things and try and find my way through the muddle is the Lord tells us, put not your trust in princes or in the sons of man whose breath is in his nostrils. Who can we trust? Can we trust these guys at the top? All we can trust is the Word of God, because the men who wrote this book did not breathe while they were in vision. Daniel, he breathed not. Ellen White did not breathe when she was in vision. Amen. Those are the people we can trust. To the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, there is no light in them. If they double talk, beware, they'll get you.
In the Old Testament, we read of accounts where God ordered entire nations and people destroyed because of their idolatry and evil ways, including women and children. Why children? Because children follow the ways of their parents. Is Ted Wilson any different? Should you expect Ted to be involved in Masonry? If you're a Mason and an SDA, you operate in a stealth mode, acting like an SDA in front of SDAs, then destroying our religion behind scenes, and when contacting the world. Has Ted Wilson operated in this fashion? Immediately after coming into office, Ted gave a glowing speech in Atlanta and had the group in tears of joy that he will bring us into the promised land. Then he declared that we are going to spread the great controversy across the land. Many were excited. I was amazed. Was he really going to do this great thing? Well, Ted had the controversy related into a simplistic 90-page booklet called The Great Hope and removed references to the deceptions of the papacy. So in other words, he's trying to overshadow the papacy and not to bring what this man, the Pope, has been doing to the people of God throughout the ages. We know of the dark ages where there were a lot of things going on at the papacy. Its hierarchy was the one involved in this. But when they brought the Great Hope, they removed differences. It doesn't even have the right to be called the Great Hope, but rather it is the Great Hoax. So in other words, we can say, then that's your part to say. I won't say it for you. Why did he choose to remove the most important information that the world needs to hear? No, he wanted to overshadow the papacy. That will be the information you will live in, and remove it. That will be the information you will live in, not remove it in the last hour of Earth's history. Ted has an agenda. Is it to spread the truth or to protect the papacy? It is to protect the papacy. Since distributing the books, he is declaring that millions of great controversies have been distributed around the world. That is false. He is deceiving people. They also have plans to relight all of Ellen G. White's books. Some have praised Ted Wilson for being against spiritual formation, but he did not say that in his inaugural speech. He said, stay away from non-biblical spiritual disciplines or methods of spiritual formation. Look within the SDA church. He was on in the he was on the Intel board of ministerial and theological education in 2001 when it was voted to start professional training of pastors and theologians in religious formation or spiritual formation. That is from adventist.org, February 3rd, 2004. Recently, he met with the head of UN, as mentioned in the review. United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon expressed concerns about growing religious intolerance worldwide during a private meeting. Why was it private? I don't know. We can't say something about that, but it was a private meeting with the Adventist church leader, the son of a Freemason, Ted Neal, Ted N.C. Wilson. Friends, we have to support the truth. That has to be given the world. The truth is, the conference is not doing it. It stopped doing it a long time ago. Tony Palmer said that the protest has ended. A protest cannot be heard from the conference worth billions of dollars. We have to support independent ministries that will give a warning message to the deceived world. For more about what the conference is up to, CW HTTP. You see that just visit that. It is not wise to choose one man as the leader of the general conference. I, as Emmanuel Oloch, what I will say is that all of this we know it's true. Ted, the father of Ted, changed our logo, saying that the protest is over and we're another Catholic organization. But we still have a protest to make. The protest that the papacy has been doing wrong, and the Sabbath is Saturday. Let us support independent ministries that go with one thing, what Isaiah chapter 8 verse 20 tells us, to the law and to the testimony. If these independent ministries don't speak to the law and to the testimony, and there's some of these independent ministries that you can say speak of the law and the testimony, but just as this man has done, his name is Ted Wilson, he has overshadowed, or he's trying to defend the papacy. So as these independent ministries have done, they're preaching the truth, but they're overshadowing or trying to protect, or they're not talking about like it's nothing, it's no big deal. They're not trying to talk about the things that this man has done to us. It is time to come back to the truth. Probation's almost closing, salvation's drawing nigh. It is high time that we as Seventh-day Adventists, we go back to the waybacks. Thank you.